Alright, welcome back everybody. I'm not really sure where I'm going to put this video at. Hey Ziggy. Yeah. Yeah, Ziggy's with me today. So, again, I'm not sure where I'm going to put this video at. Today what I want to do is I want to go over the Gibson C-1 Classical guitar. And I've been putting this off because, number one, I don't play a classical guitar. When I first started playing a guitar, I actually learned on a guitar just like this. You guys can see in this camera here. I actually learned basically on a guitar just like this right here. And this is, a classical guitar. And what is the difference between a classical guitar and a regular guitar? Well, there's a lot. For the most part, the classical guitar has nylon strings or gut strings, depending on how much money you have and if you can find gut strings, and what you like. Some people don't even like the sound of gut strings. So when we come back, we are going to get into the Gibson C1 Classical. So don't go away. Alright, we're back. Now, before we let off for the channel identification break, I was talking about the differences between a classical guitar and a standard acoustic guitar, like, the ones that I play. And if you look at this guitar here, this is a Gibson J45. Now, this is the J45 Studio. And the difference between the J45 and the J45 Studio, again, is the width of the body of the guitar right here, if you guys can see that. This is a little bit thinner right here, okay? But everything else is basically the same. When I say basically, I mean everything else is the same. You have the same scale length, you have the same neck profile. The top of the guitar is exactly the same, measurements, dimensions, all that, same X bracing. And the sound between a classical guitar and, a normal acoustic guitar is just totally different. And the main reason for that, there's actually a lot of reasons, but the main reason is because of the strings that are on the guitar. This guitar has steel strings, and as I mentioned in the opener, the classical guitar has nylon strings, or they could be gut strings, or, any variants in between. Now, Noah's C1 Classical is actually a 1963, and I'll put the serial number of the guitar in here somewhere. For those of you that want to check for me and, double check and see what you come up with, because it's really hard to actually date these. I've heard some people say, it's not hard, it's real easy. Man, I went through all kinds of problems trying to date this guitar. But the nearest that I can tell, it is like a 1963 or 64, somewhere around there. And again, these guitars are kind of like a 00 body size. If I had to take a guess at what the the body size is on this, and it's really cool because it has a mahogany back and sides, and it has a Sitka spruce top on it, and you can see here in this camera at that golden color that you get from the age. It has black plastic binding on it. There is no binding going up the fretboard. It does have markers on the fretboard letting you know where, of course, your frets are. It has the big, wide, round pegs for you to put the strings on I've seen people try to put standard acoustic guitar, keys on these, and they have a really narrow peg. You need a wider peg for these, these strings. Again, I was talking about the differences between a classical and a standard acoustic guitar like most of us play. And again, the thing that really stands out to me is that flat fretboard on it, okay? There is no radius at all on this fretboard. It is super flat. And it's super wide. It takes a while getting used to. Now, when I first started playing a guitar back when I was about, I would say 8, again, I started on a plastic guitar, but my first real guitar was one of these. Now, it wasn't a Gibson. It was just a Kmart guitar or whatever. But I learned to play on one of these. For years and years, this is all the guitar I had, and I loved it, When I finally graduated to a dreadnought, all solid wood dreadnought, wow. Yeah, that was a big, big change. I actually first went to a dreadnought that, it was a plywood dreadnought with a, I even think the top was, plywood. But, it had a different sound, steel strings, all that. One of the things I did want to mention is on this guitar, even the rosewood in it, since it is a 63, this is Brazilian rosewood, same with the bridge. The only thing that we did to it was the bridge actually was off when Noah got it. He got it from his other grandfather. When he passed away, his other grandmother gave him this guitar because, again, Noah was the only one on that side of the family that could even play guitar. So they gave him it, and Noah and I glued the bridge back on. If you guys can see that. And I'll let you, I don't know if you can see how low the strings are. I basically set this guitar up myself. Another thing about this guitar, it has a 0 fret up here, meaning it's got an extra fret right in front of the nut that the strings actually sit right on. They don't, it's weird. But it is what it is. Some people like a 0 fret, some people don't. It doesn't matter to me. It looks to me like it has a plastic nut. It could be ebony, I'm not sure. There's a lot of contention online as to whether or not these are plywood back and sides or solid wood back and sides. I tend to think that it is laminated, and the reason I can tell is because somebody put a pickup jack in this. This is a C1, okay? If you got it from Gibson with the jack in it, it's a C1E, I think. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I did a lot of research before I did this video to try to get as much information as I could on this. Well, anyways, this guitar did not come with a pickup in it, and it wasn't being used. The under saddle pickup, the wire to it was busted off, and we took it out. So when I pulled this out of it, and I actually looked inside, I actually took a piece of sandpaper on a dowel and just smoothed it up really good so I could see. To me, it looks like this is laminated. It looks like 3 layers in here. So my guess is this is a laminated back and side. But I'm going to tell you what. Again, I'm talking, and this thing is just projecting out my voice. This thing is projecting out my voice from the guitar. I don't know if you guys can hear that. It's crazy. It has a lot of sound, has a lot of punch. I've seen online where these things run anywhere from $200 up to, I've seen them over $1,000. I don't know the exact value of these guitars, but I will say that this one is in, I would have to say, excellent condition. There are no big nicks or scratches or dings on this guitar. There are no cracks. Other than the bridge falling off and us gluing it back on, that was it. So again, this is in outstanding condition. It's got beautiful crackling all over the finish. So what we're going to do is I'm going to try to play it for you a little bit. And guys, I'm not a classical guitar player. I can't do fingerstyle. I'm going to try, but I can't because of my right side. You guys know about my stroke issues. I can't feel or do anything with my right side. But we're going to try. And I'll let you guys see what this sounds like, because in my opinion, I think it sounds pretty cool. So let's go ahead and give this thing a listen to. Now, I did just check the tuning not too long ago, but I will tell you that this is hard to keep in tune. Alright, there's that. Let me try this one. Alright, there you go. Alright, let me try a pick. See what it sounds like. Alright. Alright, there you go. What do you say we go ahead and let Noah take a crack at this? And I'll let you guys hear what it sounds like played as a classical guitar, okay? He actually has been practicing a couple songs because he doesn't do a lot of classical guitar playing. But he did look up a couple songs, and hopefully we don't get hit by YouTube for him playing them. Anyways, let's go ahead and jump to Noah playing this guitar now. I just got the guitar. have to play the whole song. Okay, well, I hope you all got something out of this video. Yes, this is not a super high-end guitar, but when you think about it, this is a relic of the past. I mean, this guitar is over 50 years old. It's 1963. And for it to be in the condition that this guitar is in is just phenomenal. As I've said before, the only other guitar, old guitar that I have, and I'm very happy to have it, is my 65 Epiphone Texan, which I did a video of it. I'll try to link that video below for you all if you haven't seen it. But it's just amazing the kind of quality that went into the build construction back when Gibson was making guitars in the 60s, you know, in the 50s and 60s, man, Gibson was making some pretty nice guitars. Their quality really didn't start to suffer until, you know, the late 60s, early 70s, 80s. Man, they really made some bad guitars. They actually put a plastic bridge in some of their guitars, which is, it's just stupid. That's like, you know, my Texan. I'd love to get rid of this adjustable saddle and, you know, just have a regular saddle going right into a wooden bridge, okay? And when I can afford it, I'm going to send it to a luthier. I think he's right around Pittsburgh area, and I'm going to have him do some work on this guitar for me. And that's why I say, if you guys can find a 60s Gibson or a 60s Epiphone guitar, pick it up. You are not going to be disappointed with it. It's just going to be so full of its own nuance, and it's hard to explain. But an older guitar has their own sound. And again, I have harped on this channel how much I hate plywood guitars, and I do. I don't want to say I hate them, okay, guys? I don't hate plywood guitars. But every plywood guitar that I've ever owned has never had the resonance this guitar has. I don't know what is going on for this to be so resonant. I don't know if it is the ladder bracing in it, you know, as opposed to the X bracing. I don't know. But it is crazy resonant. How, you know, just, it's crazy. So, again, I'm not a classical guitar player. They aren't even one of my, you know, likable. They're not a guitar I would hold high on my list of guitars to purchase if I had the money, if you know what I mean. I wouldn't mind having a triple O. I think those guitars are really nice. They've got a nice sound, just, you know, just about the right size, not too small. They still have that 14 fret neck on it. Now, some you can get with a 12 fret. They're pretty cool. Actually, I wouldn't mind having one of those too. Yeah, listen to me, boy. That would take a ton of money. But anyways, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any feedback, you know, comment below. Also, do you guys have an old Gibson or an old Epiphone or an old any kind of guitar? If you do, let me know what you have, you know, and do you enjoy it? Would you part with it? Because I can tell you right now, I'd never part with my Texan, and I know Noah is never going to part with this thing, and he doesn't care if it is a classical. He really loves to play this thing. So, alright guys, that's it. Oh, since this is a guitar video, if you guys really want to learn how to play fingerstyle guitar, go check out Randy's Rhythm. The guy is phenomenal at teaching. Again, he's not a teacher by trade, okay? I already know what he does for a living, but we're going to keep that between Randy and I. But I'm going to tell you what, when I first saw his videos on YouTube, I thought that's what he did for a living. I thought he taught guitars because he's just good at what he does. So go check out Randy's Rhythm. I'll put a link in the video description below. That's it. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all on the next one.